I thought about flirting today. Not that I was thinking about flirting with someone. I was just thinking about the act of flirting. And I got to thinking about it because there's a young woman on the job I find really attractive. I'm interested. Now, I ran into this other male coworker of mine that I haven't seen in a while, about a week or so ago. And he's always seemed to garner her attention quite a bit. I think he converses with her easier than me. And maybe in a perfect world, that would be me. Anyway, the sight of him generally reminds me of his interaction with this girl. I compare him to the jock, muscular in tone, works out a lot in the gym, etc. Now, when I say I'm interested, I find her attractive, but I don't know much about her personality or character. I am open to discovering more about that in a date or several. Yes, I would take her on a date. That's what I'm saying. No, I have no idea if she is or isn't, because I haven't asked. I can't describe her in greater detail to you because any listeners who happen to work at my job will be able to narrow down who she is, and I can't have that. But let's make this interesting, shall we? If I have a coworker who's listening right now, you have 3 opportunities. Narrow it down to 3 of the women we work with, including or not including yourself if you are a woman, and I will confirm whether you are correct or incorrect. That's only if you're keen to know. I'm betting that you're not. We shall see. I despise flirting. Flirting I think it serves absolutely no purpose. It's very superficial. It contains no substance. Matter of fact, you know what? Let's Google this. Flirt. Definition. Okay. Definitions from Oxford Languages reads, flirt. Verb. Behave as though attracted to or trying to attract someone, but for amusement rather than with serious intentions. As a noun, reads, a person who habitually flirts. Let's keep going. What does it mean when someone is a flirt? To behave amorously without serious intent. From Webster Dictionary. Cambridge Dictionary. To behave as if sexually attracted to someone, although not seriously. Britannica. To behave in a way that shows a sexual attraction for someone, but is not meant to be taken seriously, usually. Flirting is very playful. That's a good word. I honestly don't think, no. I've had but one experience flirting with someone of the opposite sex. Being flirted with, rather, and it was horrendous. For a time in the college friend group, a girl nicknamed me her seahorse, and she was my mermaid. But I began investing emotionally in this thing. For her, it was amusement, playful, nothing more than a game to her. It was friends with benefits without physical sex happening. Now, I don't have direct quotes. Surely I deleted all of those communications it really skewed the lines of intimacy. They became sexual in nature, like overtones, more often than not in our conversations. And one night we ended up in her room. It was just the two of us. She'd invited me to break away from the game night, and her room was adjacent to where all the group was. And so there we were, late into the night, 12 a.m., 1 a.m., something crazy like that. Walking back to my dorm, I thought, wow, there must really be something happening here. Well, next day, I braved the waters, and she says, yeah, I feel a spark. Okay. Then suddenly cuts all communication, avoids me. I managed to nail her down. She says, no, there's no spark, nothing. Complete 180. And it just went downhill from there for me. I think in that situation, people, male or female, if they are flirting or are a flirt or a Jezebel, whatever, there's a strong chance that they subconsciously or consciously think you are in agreement for the ride, that you must also be flirting with them. In my case, I didn't even know what flirting was. I just thought all romantic notions were genuine, because that was me as a person, just very genuine. So I don't think we've realized the harm and the true dangerous confusion that knowingly engaging in a flirting interaction can cause. I'm not blaming Caitlin. What I can say is I took on full responsibility. I thought my intellect had failed me, that it was my fault that I didn't know what flirting was, and I took on the full responsibility of how that situation went down. I think flirting doesn't account for encountering that kind of personality that is so awkward, so kind, perhaps a bit naive, and they end up taking responsibility for what happens. And it negatively affected me for quite a while. That really, really messed me up. Just imagine calling yourself the most vile things, having the worst self-talk, calling yourself nothing, that you're stupid, that you're foul, you're ugly, you're disgusting. Some unmentionables. Imagine that, telling yourself any and everything in order to give the other individual full justification. And you are willing to tear yourself down by any means necessary and as low as possible, because I believed she had full justification and it was all my fault. First reason I don't like flirting: the emphasis on physique and or vanity. Not always the case, but I observe this to be commonplace. For those of you who may not know, physique, the form, size, and development of a person's body, bodily makeup. Vanity, excessive pride in or admiration of one's own appearance or achievements. Second definition for vanity: the quality of being worthless or futile. Can I say this? I've never been on a date. I've never been asked on a date. I've never been sought after or looked at attractively by any woman that I know of. I feel women consider me ugly and disgusting. because through our culture, I've rationalized if I'm not being approached or desired by women, i.e. flirting, it is because I lack the necessary appearance and achievements, the physique and vanity. For males, it's primarily money, cars, fame, a sturdy, muscular physique. I believe that to be the typical male stereotype that I've never fit into. Just like I believe the female stereotype and pigeonhole hovers somewhere around hourglass figure. Lightweight, flat stomach, hips, thighs, butt, booty. I've come across some quite lovely women. Gorgeous, graceful, beautiful, strong, independent, yet believing they are ugly because they don't see themselves in the mirror fitting this mold established by our culture. Can I tell you something? I feel that way too. I feel like an object too. I frequently wish to be seen as an individual and to be desired and attractive that way, instead of being seen through the lens of what I might or might not be able to offer through my body. I'm saddened and I feel lowered, less than, like I don't measure up because the highlight, the spotlight on physique or physical elements, attributes, is an indication, an implication of my ability to perform exuberant for you, the woman, sexually in the bedroom. Can I say this? I am a virgin. I said I was going to be highly transparent and raw with you on this thing here. I wasn't toying with you when I said that. I am a virgin. So, you will have to look and desire something else if you want to be with me. I am a biological male whose gender expression is predominantly feminine. And not only ashamed to be that way, but ashamed to be a virgin. Absolutely ashamed. Because of our culture. And I think virginity and my gender expression is something women find disgusting, boring, unappealing, and unattractive for a male. It's lame, it's not cool, it's not sexy to be a virgin. If you are a young lady, a young woman, and you think or believe differently, please leave a comment. Encourage others to speak up because I'm feeling like an object for sexual gratification. And I want to know who else secretly feels this way. Or doesn't see not only females but males this way. Males, you're invited too. I've overheard several conversations amongst girlfriends where they briefly discuss how gifted a male might be. Let me share this with you before I wrap up. Number one, that young lady on the job I mentioned, a major reason I'm terrified and am certain, quote, air quotations, certain, she'd reject is because I fear she wants to be wowed sexually in bed. Mind blown. That feels like an unwritten, unspoken expectation to be met before I even start speaking. Particularly in my ethnicity. And the notion of that playing a role in rejection is a self-image and self-esteem hit I don't wish to re-encounter. That's why I'm unsure if I'm her type. That's what I feel like coming across her on a day-to-day. That's what comes across my mind when I see this other male coworker converse so easily with her. Reason number 2. Lack of commitment, lack of substance, and superficial. Companionship requires commitment. Flirting is not companionship. Flirting is primarily amusement. And unlike foreplay, that amusement serves no purpose. Did you guess that? Nah, you missed it. That's alright. It's like low-level friends with benefits. I can receive all the emotional highs and attention of a relationship without actually committing to it. And there are certain individuals who become accustomed to or consistently partake in this and complain they can't find intimacy. Well, at the core of intimacy is commitment, substance. Superficiality or a lack of substance means there's no vulnerability. You cannot be vulnerable if you aren't real 100% with them. Anybody ever flirt with someone then try to take it to another level? The facade breaks down and they become seemingly an entirely different individual? What did they say? Did it sound like, "Oh, I was just flirting with you"? This is why it can greatly skew the boundary between an individual legitimately interested in more with you and an individual who is not. The facade at times requires a costume change. It's a performance. I'm a performer myself, a musician. And like any performer, I must give that which is most presentable. The facade of flirting can also fool us, skewing our perspective to become too comfortable with our idea of a person rather than their actual individual. I started to say you would never see true characteristics whilst flirting, but that's not correct. It's a matter of seeing, knowing what to look for that can give you a better feel about what's going on. You don't want, or at least I wouldn't, you shouldn't willingly agree to have a person occupy space in your mind just because. I'll leave y'all with this story. I call it the Cougar Story. It was a Sunday. How was that work? We'd pull the car forward to finish some such item. It could have been a drink. It could have been a food item. Once it was completed, I took it out to the car. It was a visibly older woman, we'll say mid to late 40s at the very latest, or earliest rather. I believe that day I had lip gloss on as well. So I handed her the items. It was a Sunday, so she was all dolled out, the lipstick on, looks at me with this look and says, "Thank you. Cute self." I said, "Okay, goodbye, I'm going back inside now," and walked off. That is all I will say about that story. That is not the attention we want. Thank you for coming along for the ride. That was Flirtatious. If you enjoyed my voice and want more content like this, please feel free to follow me on Spotify, leave a like or comment, and I'll see you next time.